Welcome back, friends. Sending you all lots of love and light. Sharing another entry in my Gnostic notebook. It's very easy for me to hear it in my head and understand what's going on. And it's a little bit more difficult to actually make it so other people can understand. So I really hope that you get as much as you possibly can out of this. Peter. Who or what is Peter? Saint or Satan?
And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
So Peter recognizes that Jesus is the Son of God, and Jesus calls him Peter and says that he is giving him the keys to heaven, and anything that he binds on earth will be bound in heaven, and anything that he loose on earth shall be loosened in heaven. Here's a statue of a lion-headed god. This would be the Gnostics' demiurge, or Ialdabaoth, Samael, or Satan. He too holds keys in his hands. And if we look at the statue, we see he is standing on the earth. So anything that Ialdabaoth binds on earth will be bound in heaven, loosed on earth, and loosed in heaven as well.
From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem, and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him, and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men.
So Jesus calls Peter Satan, and Ialdabaoth, the lion-headed serpent god, is associated with Saturn, restrictions, laws. Here's a photo again with those keys, and Peter, and this one, oh, he's chained to it. His keys to heaven and hell. He's got the power to loosen those chains. In the tarot, the devil or Satan is represented by Saturn, Capricorn. And if you look at the card, usually he's got some people chained up. He's got people chained up to the tree. And he has control whether they get loosed or not.
Then saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples.
Let's check out some rooster facts. Roosters crow in the morning to welcome the daybreak. And researchers found out that these male chickens have an internal clock. Little timekeepers, just like Saturn, the keeper of time. They have an internal clock that triggers them to start crowing at a specific hour of the day, especially in the morning when the sun rises. They will generally sleep throughout the night until dawn, and the reason being is that roosters are unable to see in the dark. Can't see through the darkness very well. A rooster. A cock crows. Crows, C-R-O-W-S. K-R-O-W-S. Switch it around and you get works. Crows, crows, works. A rooster crows or works from sunrise to sunset, acting as a timekeeper and a watcher of the movements of the sun. In Mark 14:30, it says, "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "today, yes, tonight," and my notes are in there because you can't see well at night, Mr. Rooster. "Before the rooster crows in the morning twice," I have by 9 a.m., "you will yourself disown me 3 times. Not going to get into a whole bunch of the reasons why I put before 9 a.m., but the picture that you see on your screen has the sun from sunrise to sunset and the increments of 3s. And if you look at it, it's a pentagram, and a pentagram here would symbolize the 5 senses that rule or chain, govern, keep us restricted our day, and a symbol for Venus, or desires. The morning star, the most commonly used name for the planet Venus, is when it appears in the east before sunrise. So you can catch Venus right before sunrise and right after sunrise, but by 9 a.m. you're not seeing it anymore. It's gone. And that's why I put 9 a.m. in my notes. Because truly I tell you, Jesus answered today, yes, this day, actually this night, before the night's over, before the rooster crows twice, Peter will deny me 3 times. Isaiah 14:12 says, "Shining morning star, how have you fallen from the heavens, you destroyer of nations? You have been cut down to the ground." Yes, the shining morning star. Ill desires, fleshly, beastly desires. The rooster crows and is a keeper of time. Kronos, Saturn, too, is a keeper of time.
Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the 2nd time, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, and went away again, and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners.
The Garden of Gethsemane. The name Gethsemane in Hebrew or Aramaic consists of 2 elements, and the first word comes from gat, meaning press, The verb yagan probably meant to beat or press, since derived from the noun gat, and that describes a wine press. Second part comes from the root samani, and may either mean olive oil or ate, and it means both. The verb shamani means to grow excessively fat or arrogant, dull, anything that creates the emergence of visible external excess. External excess, fatness, excessive fat. No doubt that's why, quote, God is always saying that the fat thereof is what needs to be burnt. The identical root, shamanai 2, or I don't know how to pronounce it, has to do with the number 8. The verb saba means to be sated, satiated, or saturated. And that's another thing with Capricorn, Saturn. The negative aspect is that there's a heavy desire or need to satiate yourself. Just, yes, much as possible. So Gethsemane means oil press, and it also means press of the 8th. The number 8, the planet Saturn, is the ruler of the number 8. 8, the strength card, fortitude card in the tarot, represents power, energy, action, courage, but also it represents a cruel and oppressive abuse of power, discord, and disgrace. Strength is a major arcana tarot, and it's number 8 depending on the deck. Historically, it was called fortitude, and in the Thoth deck, it was called lust. No doubt because of that Venus. The strength card accompanies 2 of the cardinal virtues in the major arcana, the temperance and the justice card. Older tarot decks had a woman breaking a stone pillar, or holding the pillar or breaking the stone pillar, and either a male or a female there with her, subduing or beating the beast, subduing a lion. Strength is traditionally the 11th card, and justice is usually the 8th, but Rider-Waite-Smith decks switch the position when the 2 cards to make them fit better with astrological correspondences worked out by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, under which the 8th card is associated with Leo the lion, and the 11th is with Libra. That would be Venus. She rules Libra and she rules Taurus.
Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were there, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, Before the cock crow thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly.
Fair to say that Peter was petrified. So let's figure out where Peter was, because I know that there's dissension between people of where Jesus was actually taken. One of the lesser-known biblical archaeological sites in Jerusalem is the high priest Caiaphas' house. This palace is located on Mount Zion, the broad hill situated south of the old city's Armenian quarter. When standing there, one can look out across the Kidron Valley and see the Mount of Olives. It's near the Garden of Gethsemane. At the site may also be found the Church of Saint Peter in Galacantu. The term Galacantu literally means rooster's crow, signifying Peter's 3 denials of being a friend and follower of Jesus. So not Annas or Ananias, it's the same name, different variation. Not him, he wasn't the high priest at the time anyway, he was the old high priest, and he did have pull and influence because that was Caiaphas' father-in-law. Caiaphas married Ananias' daughter, I believe is how that worked. But at any rate, Caiaphas' house, not Annas or Ananias' house, or temple, or palace. If we would have tried to use Annas or Ananias, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked out. So now that we know that it's Caiaphas' palace, the name Caiaphas has several possible origins. A rock, or a rock that hollows itself out. Kepha. A dell or a depression in Akkadian, and in Aramaic, basket, tub, channel, ravine, or one of hollow bones. Bones means strength, and if you have hollow bones, that means that you have no strength. The 8, that strength card. The basilar sulcus is a groove, a depression, or a channel in the pons, and pons in Latin means the bridge, part of the brain stem. The basilar sulcus is a groove, a depression, or a channel. And Caiaphas means a channel, a ravine, and it's right in the middle of the pond. It splits the 2 sides, and that's why it's called the bridge. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like a basket. A bridge, the basilar sulcus. A basilica is a large oblong hall with a building with a double corridor colonnades and a semicircle apse used in ancient Rome as a court of law for public assemblies. Roman basilica used as a Christian church, the name given to certain churches granted special privileges by the Pope. The basilica, Caiaphas' palace. And there's a little bit better picture of the ponds and the basket, or Caiaphas' palace. Caiaphas' palace, St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Here's St. Peter's Basilica, sitting right where it's supposed to be, right at the 8th cranial nerve. 8. And what is that one called? The vestibule nerve. The vestibule is a space in front of the main entrance of a classical Roman or Greek building, or French from Latin, vestibulium, entrance to court. And if you see right below there, I have circled and outlined the accessory nerve, which is cranial nerve 11, and I believe that those were the maids that came out, and the people, the maids who were trying to assist, and, the workers, the accessory nerve. 11 and 8. And then also off to the right, you can see below the vestibule and St. Peter's Basilica, or Caiaphas' palace. Outlined there is the Mount of Olives. Yes. And it's olives because there's 2 olives. Olivet, one on each side. Garden of Gethsemane. In the book of John, we're told about Peter. Because it was cold, the servants and the officers, the accessory nerves, were standing around a charcoal fire they had made to keep warm, and Peter was also standing with them, warming himself with the coals. The word petroleum comes from the medieval Latin petroleum, rock oil, which comes from the Latin petra, rock, Peter. A flammable liquid ranging in color from clear to dark to very black, consisting mainly of hydrocarbons occurring naturally in the deposits under the Earth's surface. Coal is a black rock from prehistoric trees and vegetation remains, which I'm equating to rotted fruit, actions produced from spoiled trees, from bad knowledge. Coal. That's why he was standing outside and couldn't go in. He had to stand outside at the vestibule area. He didn't have oil. He had coal. Santa Claustrum didn't get oil back. He didn't. So he turned into Santa Claus and reached out and dropped a lump of coal into Peter's hand and said, "Here you go. No special oils for you, my friend." Ialdabaoth, the lion-headed serpent god, god of the blind, is also known as Samael in the book of Enoch. Sama meaning venom, El, God, the venom god or the god of venom. Saturn or Satan. So in my opinion, the Catholics are cat-holics. They're worshiping the cat, the lion, the Saturn under the guise of sun worship, but it's Saturn worship. They're cat-holics. The people themselves, I'm not saying anything about, I'm saying the religion in and of itself. Samael, Satan, Saturn, and the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. He that eateth of the eggs dieth, and that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper. Rejoice not, thou whole Palestine, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. But the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. Clearly we're talking about our spiritual egg or our spiritual ovum, and if we're able to raise it and crystify it then we can go ahead and put our hands on the cockatrice den. But if not, if you just have coal, well, don't go rejoicing, because trouble's not over with. So Caiaphas's palace is actually Peter's palace. They're the same. Jesus Barabbas is a figure mentioned in the New Testament in which he is in an insurrectionary, or in prison, held by the Roman government at the same time as Jesus, and whom Pontius Pilate freed at the Passover feast in Jerusalem, while keeping Jesus the prisoner. Why? Because that's what the people wanted. That's what the people wanted. They didn't want to know the truth about the true Jesus. They wanted the fake Jesus Barabbas. And Jesus Barabbas, Jesus fish, Bar's son, Abbas father, Jesus Barabbas. And early on in the story, we heard that Jesus gave Peter the name Peter Bar-Jonas. And Peter, or Pater, is father. Reason why they call the Catholic priest father. Peter, Pater, father. Bar, son. Jonas, fish. Same person. Jesus Barabbas, Peter Bar-Jonas. Fish, son, father. Fish, son, father. All emanations of Ialdabaoth, Satan. And interestingly enough, they all have 5 syllables. Ialdabaoth, Jesus Barabbas, Peter Bar-Jonas. All 5 senses being ruled by Venus, 5-pointed star, the morning star. Oh, how you have fallen. Peter. Janus equals Dagon. Dagon equals Saturn, or Satan, the two-faced god, but also means door of God and the one who holds the keys to the kingdom. Peter. And with that, I will end it. I know the video isn't too terribly long, but it was extremely time-consuming, so please give the video a thumbs up, comment in the comment section below, and share on your own social media platforms. Love yourselves and love each other unconditionally. Peace.